Good evening. Welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today is an honor. We have on Snake from Voivod. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I've been a big fan, like most people, since the '80s. Um, I know you guys are thrashier. Then you guys are kind of like, I don't know, like sci-fi and industrial. I've heard every term of your band. What would you qualify yourself as saying? Like, do you describe yourself to somebody that doesn't know what you sound like?
Oh well, we're just a uh punk sci-fi progressive rock band, I would say.
I think sci-fi and
um
prog does it really well. I think.
yeah,
You know,
with metal, combined
of
with
course,
metal,
right.
of course.
Well, of course, but I think when I say prog to me just feels like it's smart rock, smart metal. A lot of jazz
Yeah.
influence, a lot of chords change. That's just my thing. But that's cool. That's very cool. So you got a lot going on. You guys have done a lot of stuff. Got some stuff coming out, and a lot going on now. First off, let's talk about you have an EP out, which is
Yeah.
let's talk about the Ultraman EP. That's pretty fun. Man,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
talk about that. You
Yeah.
want to,
uh we did record it while we did the recording of Synchro Anarchy. um and we kind of like concentrate on Synchro Anarchy because obviously we had a lot of work to do on that. And then but we managed to record it at the same time, and then we came back later on to do the vocal. And so they were like a version of English, French, and Japanese singing on it. And because Chewy is pretty good in Japanese, and so we managed to do the vocal in different part in different version, English, French, and Japanese, and that was really fun to do. And it's a these are fun music, and in reference of my, I don't know what age you are, but I grew up.
52.
Yeah, well, I grew up with Ultraman and the Thunderbirds and all
Yep.
these. Yeah, so so for us, going and in the past we used to do like Batman songs, theme
Yep.
songs, and stuff like that. So for us, Ultraman's always been there, waiting for us to get into it, and it was a fun session. And the music is more complex than when you first listen. It seemed like to be like a kind of a rock and roll thing,
Yeah.
but there's a really depth in the music that it's more complex, and it's really well written. And we had some a bit of issue with the so it's the same composer with different team. There's the main team when
Right.
when the show starts, and then there's a battle section, and then there's a different theme.
Hmm.
It's the same composer, but it was owned by a different publisher. And
Oh,
so it got the things a little bit complicated there. But we managed to have an agreement on how to put it together, so everybody is happy. So
good. I mean, I don't see
yeah.
how they wouldn't want a song and a piece from that far back being done by a current band, putting it out there.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
it's like an awesome free commercial for them. Like and
Yeah.
I mean, how would they not want that?
Yeah, but it's publishing is
Different
a different
different animal.
world. Yeah.
It's music business. It's music business.
Yeah.
It's not music fun, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. You guys really do a good job, and we'll step back into the synchro anarchy thing in a minute. But you're still as fresh as you were in the beginning. Actually, you guys are just as good. I mean, 15-year-old me would have been like, please, Voivod, never get bad, always be awesome. And now I'm like, thank you for not getting. Each album is still coming out. I'm excited for it. You guys are still delivering it. What is it? The challenge is it what's making it exciting for you to keep doing it?
I would say that it's the love of it. It's of course we challenge ourselves a little bit, Um, but we like things to be sometimes, um, I would say, a little bit like odd, or different, or not expected,
Right.
or create a sort of attention or dissonant,
Dissonant,
feeling, or
eclectic,
we like,
offbeat.
yeah, getting dizzy or what. It's and to tell you the truth, it's when we're in the process of putting songs together. We really we're not we're not working hard in our brain. We just let the thing go.
Yeah.
But naturally, we know what would good for Voivod, and so instinctively, I think we know that, oh, that riff is killer, or we can take that riff and that beat and whatever, and so we're always in a process of putting things together in order to almost like surprise ourselves, like it's like an experiment, you just like take a little bit of that, and we're like doing chemistry here, and we're mixing this with that, and oh wow, create another idea. If you mix an idea of guitar, let's say, with a bass line, depending on the bass line, it's going to give completely another aspect to it, let's
Right.
say. And if you put the beat on it, then it's going to create another aspect, another layer, and then the vocal, and it can start the other way around. It can
Yeah.
start with, like having something in my head, and I just shout it out in the mic, and then gives an idea to Rocky or Chewy, and then they start playing a sort of like riff. But we collect sometimes ideas at home, especially with Synchro Anarchy. Because of the pandemic, we were like kind of separate from each
Hmm.
other, so we had to collect and put together music uh, in a different way because we couldn't be together, and it created something actually really good and really
Oh my God,
new.
it's so powerful. Like it stands, like to be 40 years in and put your latest album against one of your first full on albums and be able to knock it down is phenomenal for a band to do that. And when you started, it wasn't like there was a long game plan for bands that were thrashy or alternative. There was nothing. It was such a new type of music. So to be looking at this,
Mhm.
we can look back 40 years and be like, oh my God, like it's huge. The fact is that you're as strong and as aggressive 40 years in, and this album is
Yeah,
fantastic. It's so
and then
strong.
it is, and then the funny thing is that because of the pandemic, we were like separate for a ride, collecting ideas, but never really had a chance to put the ideas together. And when we decided to do the album for the window, kind of, we were expecting to release in a certain window of time,
Yeah.
and so we figured out that we had to do the record in 4 months to deliver it. And so we said to ourselves, "This is crazy. I mean, how are we going to do that? We
Right.
never done an album in such a short period, but we managed to, we got into the rehearsal place, and we started the process, and all of a sudden we had one song, two songs, three songs, and then, but it was like I really delivered in a kind of like an emergency stuff, like,
Yeah.
um, and it was intense all the way through it, really, really intense, and it was I had the feeling that it was like not as polished as the Wake album, but it has such a drive. It has, because we did approach it the same way we approached the streaming session that we did during the pandemic, because we did a few
Yeah,
ones,
there's a few of them. Well, you can talk about those
uh
too. For fans out
and
there
it
on the website, people can buy it, right? You can
yeah,
buy each of them. There's like three of them. They're like reasonably priced. They're $10 each. You know,
yeah,
have the DVD shipped to you. I want to say also for a second, go to the Voivod website. It is chock full of stuff. You
yeah.
know, it's fantastic.
but
You got
but 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 the thing is, when we did these sessions, we looked at it and we were like, we sound pretty good. We sound no, but it sounded good as the four of us, no
right.
artificial, no extra layers,
Hmm.
no. So we approached Synchro Anarchy the same way. We said, no, not too much layers of guitars, not too much layers of vocal, kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, bang, bang, bang. And we approached the album on you know that way. So it was different from the Wake, and the level of the Wake was quite high, and we had to do something different with a different approach, and I think we succeed by
Oh,
doing that.
totally. You kept it going. Another high level album, but differently because you guys are known for being different anyhow. So it's different without trying to be different. You're just different because that's just which way you guys are going. I mean, what is your favorite song at this point today on the album? What is your favorite one today?
I like holographic thinking. I like Synchro Anarchy,
I love that one. That's one of my
self-titled,
favorites. Yep.
and Quest for Nothing with the new video now. It's just
Actually,
like,
let's talk about that for a minute. Yeah, I do want to say
yeah.
I love Mind Clock also. It's probably my
Oh
favorite
yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah,
That's probably my favorite today. But tomorrow it could change again. You know how that goes.
yeah,
But let's talk about the single and that fantastic video. It's AI art.
yeah. Well, our friend Luke Leclerc, who's taking care of the website, the Voivod website, and everything, and he's a guy. I don't know, man. He's crazy, and he always have different kind of vision or ideas of how to do things, and
Hmm.
he by himself, um, with this new technology, he managed to do a video that's like mind blowing. My eyes was actually like my eyes couldn't support the vision. And the first time I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I'm getting I'm getting a headache or something.
It's so good. It's so
It's,
good with your music too. It's like the perfect marriage of video
yeah,
and music.
yeah, and
You know,
it's use that the new technology. And it's like, how does it work? Because well, he goes like, it's the computer. The computer just generate ideas, and if you put like I don't know, let's say Salvador Dali with mixed with Bosch painting, and
yeah.
so that thing is gonna go crazy, and you'll have like the melting clock mixed with the bird and the people, and it's gonna go by
It's
itself.
fun.
It's completely it's really mind blowing how that thing works, and so we included images and different stuff. I don't know exactly how he did it in details, but that thing just processed the whole thing and with extension and different ideas, and I was blown away completely. I said, "Wow!" And there's a good artist too, and it's,
Well,
really accurate.
it keeps with you guys. You guys have always had great art, great lyrics. You're a great lyricist. The band's obviously very great musicians, but you've always kept with the sci-fi. So I mean, has the world actually? I'm gonna say, and to me, once you guys did Angel Rat, I knew you guys could do anything. To me, that was the album that just says the gloves are off, and there's nothing that you guys can't touch musically. You know what I mean? Like there was no more rules anymore. Like people were like, "Oh, what about they sound a little different,
Oops.
they're kind of thrashier." But once you did Angel Rat, it's like we can do anything we want now. But the artwork on that,
Yeah,
you've always had good artwork though too to match the albums. You know,
yeah. Michelle is really good at it. Is I think Michelle is always inspired by the music, and the music inspired Michelle,
right?
and vice versa.
Vice
I don't
versa.
know. Yeah, and then but it's true that with Angel Rat, because we did a pretty good success with Nothing Face, commercially and everything,
Yes,
and maybe people were expecting another, Nothing Face number 2 or something, and we came up with something completely,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I
com-
mean, Nothing Phase
completely,
bridged the other stuff up to that, but Angel Rat was like we're just gonna go around the corner somewhere else, totally different. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
There was no
yeah,
bridge. It was just you guys are blowing up the bridge and you're starting somewhere else, and that just
yeah,
was like it.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. We were looking for something different, maybe at that time, and but certainly, and some people were kind of disappointed, to tell you the truth, when
I
it
remember
came
that.
out,
I
and
was not me.
but I think people discovered the album later on, and kind of like
Yeah.
more appreciate it, and finally said, "Wow, we had that for years," and it's mind blowing. So it was it was a different approach than any, when you try to reach the big success or whatever. It was completely another
Right.
approach,
And I think there was a
and
big step melodically for you too, though. Like the melody, you guys had a little bit more of a melody to the songs too, even or a common theme, that made it a little different than the other ones,
yeah,
which was a nice shining point for you actually. I thought, as a vocalist, it kind of
yeah,
was a good point for you.
yeah, yeah.
So
I was, you
yeah,
know, well, I did a completely a different approach. I think, it was the following approach on Nothing Face, but the subject were kind of different, the
yeah,
folk tales and everything. And it was like, when you have folk tales, it's almost like you have to sing a canteen, like a kid's
yeah,
song,
yeah.
and it created different kind of melody. So yeah.
But it's fun. So you actually go on a tour. You have tour Opeth coming up, and some solos, and not solos, but some separate Voivod headlining gigs coming up too.
Yeah, we're gonna do some shows. We're gonna do the first two show with Opet. We're gonna do the whole tour, but we have a show in Hamburg by ourselves, and then we
Hmm.
have some after the Opet section. We're gonna do another 10 days. We're gonna go to Italy, Greece, some shows, and Istanbul as well.
Wow, that's pretty
So
cool.
that's gonna be awesome.
Now, me being from the U.S., any chance that you come into the U.S. maybe in 2023 or anything?
Gonna
Any
maybe
plans?
do soon, I hope, West Coast tour eventually
Yeah,
during next year.
very
Yeah,
cool. Awesome. So I want to thank you for your time. I know you're busy, but I have two questions for you. Being the sci-fi guy, what would you say your favorite sci-fi book is, and say name your top two sci-fi movies? Only because I've been listening to your
oh,
lyrics. Come on, I've been listening to your lyrics for like a billion years now. What would you say your best sci-fi book is?
well, I still, I'm not a really big reader, to tell you the truth. And the, there's so many out there.
Yeah.
um but I do love, you're gonna say, oh wow, 2001 and Arthur C.
No,
Clarke. Arthur
no,
C.
those are
Clarke
great.
for me was like it was realistic in his approach
Yeah.
of the space, because I'm more into realistic fiction in the science fiction, and Alien was one of my favorite,
Yeah.
whatever, because it is possible. It is possible
Right.
that
I
we're
totally agree. I
going.
just ask because the fans, you have a different age groups now, and it's always
Yeah,
good for people to go back and say, go to 2000, one, the book or the movie, or go see or Alien. You know what I mean? There's some really good stuff out there, and to me, you guys were sci-fi with a very 1950s flair to like a 2001 flair, where it was like what we thought it was and what it could be, and
yeah,
less comicky. So to me, that makes sense. Asking those answers make sense to me. It's as a
yeah, and
lifelong person.
it's like, okay, there's a lot of things coming out new, and it's all made by digital stuff, and it's like, yeah,
Right.
okay, but it doesn't have the same impact as when first time I watched whatever, Alien, or I've never been a big fan of Star Wars, because
The effects. Well, that and horror
No,
films.
no, no. It was more like the bad and the good and the
Oh, okay,
princess, and you know, it's for me.
right.
But in Alien, you know, it was like, okay, there's a monster, blah blah blah, and
It's horrifying.
yeah, and the story itself, you know, it was like a mineral transportation vehicle, you know, and
Yeah,
so it was like completely, and you know, stuff like Mad Max, you know, it can happen. It's possible that it will happen, you know. So
more and more, right?
yeah, and so I like the reality and the fiction. Uh, that's what I think
That's
it's
what
my favorite. Yeah,
makes sense to me. I grew up on that too. Last thing, actually, a beer. You guys had a beer come out.
yeah. We had a couple of ones. Uh, we had the Lost Machine. We had Memory Failure from the last record.
That's a
Beer
great
made
name
in
for
yeah.
beer.
Hangover,
Yeah.
memory failure. I
What'd
had
you
too
have?
much
I don't know. My
memory.
memory failed.
I had too much memory failure.
That's
The
awesome.
first one was like Plus Capo come from another record, but yeah, well, you know, I'm not a really big beer fan, but Chewy is. You know, is
Yeah,
pretty accurate on all of how to the process of doing it and everything,
yeah.
and he gave us his you know, with all his knowledge about it, and
That's
I
fun.
you know, I found it really cool. You know, it's like
It's fun.
it's a product and it's tasted good. You know,
Yeah,
and so
it's another creative force. It's, a lot of artists do that, so that's awesome. I
yeah,
want to thank you, man, just for being on the show. I appreciate it. So people check out the album if you haven't heard it. Synchro Anarchy, Ultraman EP, tour if they can buy. Go on the website. There's a bunch of streaming events that you can buy, and they'll send them to you in DVD at a good price. They got some great merch. Some of it's
yeah,
out of stock right now, so you need to fill that back up because there's some good stuff on there that's out of stock.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
people need to
yeah.
go and take care of that. Thanks for being on the show. It's been awesome.
Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate